Hey folks, SimplySuperDave here from the great state of Louisiana. I apologize to my 9 subscribers that I have for not making a video in the past couple weeks. Um, had some personal issues come up, but where I didn't really feel like making a video, or my train of thought really wasn't in that area. But today, I felt like making a video, and I want to talk about the last Republican debate we had last Wednesday. um, at the Ronald Reagan Theater or wherever it is. First, let's just go ahead and address the Trump situation. He's not a real contender, folks. Yes, he says a lot of things people are thinking. Yes, he says a lot of things we want to hear. But when you ask him how he's going to get things done, he goes nowhere. He has no real solutions. He has no clue what to really say when it comes to how are you going to do that. As soon as you ask him something like that, he'll bring up a moment in his life where he can have anyone vouch for him, or he talks about how awesome things are going to be and how he's the best and how this country is going to be great again under him. But he gives no indication of how that will happen. And he's done this through 2 debates. At every speaking moment that he has, he's going to build a big wall and put a door in the middle. I mean, really, the guy has no real answers. All he is a big hype machine. He's like a professional wrestler who is really good on a microphone, but can't do it in the ring and entertain people without the microphone. Um, in other words, he's all talk and no action. And until he actually gives some answers to questions like how are you going to fix the economy, or what is your foreign policy, or or how are you going to help middle class Americans get back on their feet again, then I'm not going to take him seriously. And so let's focus on the real contenders of the debate. A lot of people will probably say Ben Carson, which I like Ben Carson. He's a man that likes to think before he acts, which is what we need more of. He has a lot of intelligent things to say when asked questions about how you're going to handle this and how you're going to handle that. I'm not fluent on him personally, but the more I learn about him, the more I like. Mark Rubio is another one that really stood out to me. Came from lower class America and has worked his way up. So he has a basic understanding of what it's like to be an average American, um, unlike a lot of other politicians that were born into wealth. Uh, I really like him a lot. His answers are very consistent. He's another one that thinks before he speaks and very logical, like Ben Carson. But, of course, I'm going to support Rand Paul. So far, there's no one else out there, in my opinion, that has gotten on stage and actually stood for the Bill of Rights and the Constitution. That basically his answers aren't original answers because he don't have to have any. All he has to do is follow the rules of our Constitution or follow the rules of the Bill of Rights, and you can come up with solutions for all the problems that we have questions for. So for the people out there that like pick on him for his looks and so forth, then go ahead. But the man is dead on what this country needs. And that's not to just restore things to the way they were, but to continue moving forward, but by moving forward based on the foundations that built this country into the great country that it was. It seems like today a lot of politicians just want to move forward, but they don't want to use the foundation that's got them where they are today. That's like best metaphor I can think of at the moment is like trying to go across the Atlantic Ocean on the dinghy boat that's on the big boat. Okay? You can take the Titanic across, or you can take the rowboat. And it seems like a lot of them want to just go forward on a rowboat instead of the big ship. Well, you need the big ship to get across the ocean. You might make it in the dinghy, but it's going to take a very long time. So Rand Paul is by far the one that stood out the most to me, because not because of how much he spoke and how much airtime he had, because that's not what wins elections, but by the substance of what he had to say. And I like how he went after Trump to try to call him out. And of course, Trump used his quick wit and for example, Rand Paul talked about how Trump picks on people based on their looks and stuff like that. And then, of course, Donald Trump says that he hadn't picked on Rand Paul at all about his looks, but there's a lot there to pick on. Well, basically, you just did opposite of what you just said. So hopefully, people picks up on the lunacy that is Donald Trump. But it's true, this country is headed in a very weird direction. Almost seems like it's like we're headed in a direction with so much promise, but we're not doing it right. It's almost like a football team of stars, but because you have bad coaching, you lose every game, regardless of how much good talent you have on the team. That's what this feels like. So, in my opinion, people like Ben Carson, Mark Rubio, and of course the great Rand Paul, which I'm just so fully endorsed on with him. Granted, there are things that we do not agree about. For example, Planned Parenthood. It's I understand why people want to defund it, okay, because of the abortion issue. But folks, Planned Parenthood helps so many people. And I'm not talking about just women, but it's a health clinic that is nonprofit that helps people that can't afford health insurance and are the same people that are exempted from having to be under the mandate of health, the American, not American, but the Affordable Health Care Act. So you're kind of in that loophole, and it's not a good loophole to be in, because you can't afford health insurance, but you're too poor to be, you're exempt from it. So if you do go to a doctor, you put yourself in debt just by one doctor visit, because obviously going to a doctor just to get birth control is going to cost you hundreds of dollars when you can go to a clinic